Hi, what's good? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, this is a reaction. Now, I wasn't even gonna really react to this today, or at all, honestly. But I saw this on another streamer, Big E. Shout out to Big E. I saw him reacting to it for like a quick second, and I was like, "What? That's crazy." So if you look at this caption up top here, this is pretty much what I saw. So, other than that, let's get right into it. All right?
Gonna be multi
Let's get
streaming on
straight
Kick
into it.
anymore. I told you guys it was an experiment that I wanted to test out to see if it was worth it, if I liked it. And to be honest, it felt like I was separated from two chats. That's number one. And number two, being completely honest and upfront with you guys, the money is not good enough. It was not good enough. It's simple as that.
Um. Okay. I think there's two ways to see the situation thus far, right? I think the average person or a regular person, even somebody who makes money or makes a good amount of money, and is looking at this, they're going to see this and they're going to think that a lot of streamers are entitled, right? And that's one way to look at it. Or they're going to look at it as these streamers are ungrateful. I would love to make $1,700, $1,500, Because I will admit, me personally, I have a 9 to 5. I have to go to work literally. Because I'm gonna start getting ready for work around like 1, right? I'm gonna do a quick stream before that. But other than that, it's a thing where it's like this is. I think that mentality really disconnects a lot of people from streamers, right? But there's a second way to look at this, and the second way is that you have to look at where he's coming from, right? Which is he's probably making a lot more money on other platforms, and he switched to this particular platform. And because of that particular platform, he went and he isn't making as much, which I understand, right? It's just that it's like you have to remember when you're talking about this type of stuff, you're talking to a regular person. Most streamers are in the top 5%, if not in his niche, 1%, and at his level, 1%, if not less than 1%, because he's huge. So I think honestly, this type of mentality really kind of goes on deaf ears when it comes down to a regular person. Honestly.
I streamed for 9 hours yesterday and I made $1,500 off of it, or $1,700. So if I'm being completely upfront and honest, it's just the money's not worth having to, co-stream on two platforms. But listen, it's all love to Kick. You know, I have decided that I'm not going to be multi-streaming on Kick anymore. I
The weird thing about this is, right? It's like, at least for me, I'm looking at it as that's only Kick. I thought it was like, okay, cool, you know, that's just yeah, it's only Kick. I was thinking like that was like two platforms for how he was like framing it, you know what I mean? But no, that was just one platform. And still, this is the issue that I think a lot of streamers need to really look at, right? The average person doesn't care. The average person doesn't care about your, I guess, money struggle. The reason why I say money struggles like that is because to the average person, you're not struggling financially. And I mean, the average person is working like 10-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, back to back to back, years on end, just to survive, not even to thrive, bro. Meanwhile, you probably had a 9 to 5, which is how most streamers start up. Like me, I'm trying to start up while I have a 9 to 5. This is my primary income, my 9 to 5. I'm always going to keep a 9 to 5, mind you. And I'm going to explain why after I see this point. Um, I think the average person is going to look at that as, hey, I work 9 hours a day, right? I make way less than that. I make a percentage of that, right? The percentage of the money that he made in one day of just streaming, right, on one platform. That's not even including Twitch. That's not including YouTube. That's not including other platforms, other social media like Twitter, all that type of stuff, right? That's not even including that. I think the issue is that the average person is looking at that and saying, I make $1,500 a month, or I make, let's say, for example, $1,500 every 2 weeks, or I make that type of money, like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So it's like they're looking at the effort to time ratio in terms of how much time would it take me to make that money. You know what I mean? That's what they're looking at. I make almost $1,500 a month. I don't make it though. I'm a few $100s off, but I almost make that. If I made that in a day, I would be overjoyed. Most of the stuff I going through right now financially wouldn't even be a thing. That's honestly what it is. And that's how the average person also thinks as well. And this is from somebody who's trying content, who is trying streaming, who's doing things like that. Like for example, I'm recording a YouTube video now. It's because I'm trying to record videos every single day, so that I can be able to, have an audience, create a community on Twitch, gonna work on the Discord today, all that type of stuff. So I'm working on these type of things all the time, right? Trying to improve and make it as easy as possible, so I can be able to have a dual way of life. You know what I mean? And as somebody who is split in the middle, I can see both perspectives, bro. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Streaming is harder than 9 to 5 conversation, right? All over again. I just think that this conversation, particularly with the money, yeah, no, yeah, the one side just doesn't care. One side cares, one side doesn't care, honestly, because it's like first world problems at that point. But with the whole streaming is harder than 9 to 5 thing, I see it as both things have their issues, right? I think the 9 to 5 is a lot more secure, so it makes sense to have a 9 to 5. And I also think that it at the same time offers a lot. It offers a gateway into doing anything else, literally. Because if you were to, let's say for example, somebody were to get canceled online, right? And they have a regular job, they have their degree, they have their like certifications, they have stuff like that. They can still get a regular job and make money still, right? But when it comes down to streaming, you get canceled. That's it, more than likely, bro. You're not gonna make the same numbers you was making before. You have to get a regular job at the end of the day. But the issue with streaming too is that it's such a luck based thing. It is a skill. Streaming is a skill, and it's a skill to be able to learn these different things, right? Especially in a quick amount of time. However, it's a thing where it's like literally, bro. I'd say this. It's a thing where it's like, bro, it's a lot of luck that comes with it, and it's not secure whatsoever, bro. You can have brand deals, you can have sponsors, you can have stuff like that, but you have to make sure your record is clean. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure your lifestyle is clean off all that to stay afloat. You know what I mean? Pretty much. But I would say in terms of what's actually harder, in terms of like day to day, physically, mentally draining stuff like that, whatever. A regular job is 1,000% more draining. Like I have to go to work, right? Today. I'm not getting off until 10 o'clock, right? So it's a thing where it's like I get off late. I have to deal with a lot of people. I have to do different jobs sometimes when I get to work. I have to deal with different people at work. So it's pretty draining when it comes down to it, right? As compared to streaming, where it's like if you don't like somebody, you can just ban them out your chat. You can just say, hey, don't come back no more. Get away, time them out. You can do stuff for that. In real life, you can't do that. You have to deal with the issue, or you have to avoid that person. And in real life, it's also a thing, just like with streaming, well, if somebody doesn't like you, they can get you fired from your job or whatever, right? The only issue is normally they would need witnesses and stuff for that. But with streaming, it's a thing where it's like, you know, they can just report you pretty much, and certain things can happen off of just that. You know what I mean? But back into the main topic with this money thing, I look at it like this, bro. It depends. You know what I mean? Like that, like it's so cliche to say that, but it really depends. I bet you if the average person start making money like how these Twitch streamers and how these live streamers and YouTubers start making money, bro, you would be complaining soon enough about the type of struggles that they go through once they had that money for a long time, or the amount of time that they had it, and if you had the lifestyle that they had and the mentality that they had. Now, some people are able to separate themselves from, hey, I'm able to make some more money. I'm able to actually budget. I'm able to do this. I'm able to do that. Life is good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like for me, every time I get paid, I always make sure I pay my bills. Always make sure I am responsible for my money. Mainly because I look at it as, hey, you know, I don't have another way out. I have to make sure I'm responsible. That way, if I do make more money, I won't develop bad habits. You know what I mean? Sometimes when people make a lot of money over a certain amount of time, they don't have that mentality in their head. You know what I mean? They don't have that type of discipline yet. And I would say this. I think that's one thing a 9 to 5, and of course how you grew up as well. But I think a 9 to 5 is what really helped me, or at least was a big part in helping me personally be able to develop the habit. You know what I mean? Because that's your first time for most people making some money for yourself. even if it's not a lot of money or good money, it's some money in general to be able to take care of you. So because of that, it's a good way to be able to start certain habits, be able to actually go there and do what you need to do. But pretty much my take from the video is that I see it in terms of he needs to make more money or he wants to make more money. I look at it like this, where it's like if that's an extra 1,500 on top of the what you're making on Twitch and on top of other things, that 1,500 can be a great asset for anybody. Honestly, even if you're a billionaire, you can put 1,500 into something. You can find a way to take $1,500 for somebody who is rich or somebody who's making a lot of money. You can find a way to take 15 and $1,700 and pump that into something else. Now, I do understand the time thing because 9 hours is pretty much a work day right there from just sitting down talking pretty much. And when you get big like these guys, it's a thing where it's like, it's kind of like when you first start streaming. Like for me, I'm pretty small, right? I had two, I had two viewers last for my last stream, right? Because I'm just starting up again. Um, it's a thing where like pretty much the chat is moving so fast you actually cannot read it unless like it just stops for a period of time. Then you can read it. But then for the most part, it's just people spamming. So the chat goes like this, literally like every second. As soon as somebody types, it goes like this. I was in Queso's chat last night, or whatever. I typed something, and he literally could not. He literally couldn't see it. My message didn't even go through to him until like a second or two later, literally. And I have good internet. That's crazy. Um, but that's just how it is, you know what I mean? So having to sit there pretty much and just yap is a lot. Like for example, I'm recording this video right now, and it's approaching 12 minutes off of me just like literally just reacting to a minute clip. So it's also a skill to be able to actually yap for this long. But imagine doing that for 9 hours. I streamed for an hour and a half the other day, and I mean it wasn't that physically taxing. But I didn't want to socialize at all. I went to work. I was super quiet, quieter than I usually am. You know what I mean? But it is a skill. It does take a lot of work. I mean, it does take work. I wouldn't say it's a lot of work compared to a 9 to 5. But in terms of money wise, I still think it's good money. Of course, any regular person thinks it's good money. Any sane person would look at that and say, "Yeah, that's good money." Like you made $1,500 in 9 hours. That's like literally step forward in life type of money. You know what I mean? That's literally step forward in life type of money, bro. But that's my take on the Lacy thing. Like I mentioned before, I'm gonna be streaming today. Check me out on Mondays and Thursdays. That's when I'm gonna be multi-streaming to all platforms except for TikTok because I'm suspended on TikTok. Um, there's that. Didn't do anything bad, honestly. At least it wasn't bad to me. So I just gotta figure out the guidelines and the community and rules and stuff for that. Other than that, I'm gonna see you later. This is Buff Shaman signing out, or on TikTok, Shamar signing out. Yeah, weird as outro.